Hey friends, so today I have something that a lot of you requested per one of my recent videos, which is the schedule that I used here. Sorry. This is the schedule that I used for preparing the world for Jesus. Now, I actually made this schedule myself for this history book from Generations. This is a first volume of a two-volume series. So this is ancient history. And then the other book, which I'm going to do this coming year, is the second volume, and that is world history from the fall of the Roman Empire till modern times. So typically, this is a 1 year set, and you're supposed to do it all in 1 year. But we take like a Charlotte Mason approach, and I really wanted to do a 4 year history cycle, but I wasn't sure how to do that. So I had this idea that I could make my own 4 year history cycle if I only do one book per year. So in grades 9 and 10, we would be doing world history. And I just kind of bulked it up a little bit. So what I did was I kind of did something that Simply Charlotte Mason does, and I just bulked it up with living books and narrations and things like that. So that was my goal, was to basically take this 1 year history curriculum and make 2 years out of it. And that's what I've done. And so for grades 11 and 12, I plan on doing American history. So I knew that I couldn't follow the schedule that comes with this book because it would be an accelerated schedule that I wouldn't want to use. So I made my own schedule here, and it's basically just this little PDF that I made, and you could have this completely for free. I will give you the link for it. It is one of the free downloads that you get when you sign up for my email list. And it's as soon as you sign up for the email list, it comes onto the page, and you just scroll down a little bit and there it is. And you will see this handy dandy little downloadable PDF. So basically what I did was on this PDF, you're going to see 36 boxes. And because we're Charlotte Mason, I kind of have exam weeks built into here. You can do it however you want. I did not follow this perfectly. Now, I want to make this abundantly clear. I followed this very loosely, okay, because I know how I am. And basically, I made this just to have something to kind of keep me in check, just to make sure that I was staying on schedule. But I did not follow this perfectly. And the thing with this type of stuff is everything's going to depend on how fast or slow your child reads. This is tailored to my child, okay, because I knew that he could handle that workload. If your child can't handle that workload, don't do it, or take out some of the books, adjust it as needed. But I found that my child was moving even faster than what I had on here, and we finished like 8 weeks early, 8 or 10 weeks early. I ended up bulking up in other areas, and it all worked out. It really did. And then these are some of the books that we used, and I did not end up using every single book on this list, but we did almost every single one of them. I highly recommend the Plutarch's Lives book. That was probably my favorite thing of the year, and especially this one, the Cat of Bubastes. Such a good book. Highly recommend Cat of Bubastes. This is one that we added in at the end of the year, Ancient Egypt and Her Neighbors. Really great book. I loved all of the information that was in that one. Highly recommend that book as well. Now, there are just some others that I have around. I ended up having him read at least a chapter or two a day out of one of these books, even if we read some in the Preparing the World for Jesus book. We set a goal to kind of work for about 45 minutes, and that seemed to work really well for us. I feel like we got a really good overview of ancient history throughout the year. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn you around, and I'm going to show you kind of how this is broken down and just give you a little bit of insight to how this PDF is set up, because I know I'm going to have tons of questions. Okay, so bear with me, but there are some mistakes. There are some books that I totally took out of this schedule. like I said, this was a very loose schedule. And what I did was I broke it up into 36 weeks. I added exam weeks in here, just like Charlotte Mason, because that was how I personally planned on doing this curriculum. But I have to explain because I know people are going to be like, what in the world? So the first week we started just the introduction and we did Unwrapping the Pharaohs. And that was a book that I got over at Master Books. And we really enjoyed that book. I think that was one of our favorites. And we did Unwrapping the Pharaohs for like the first 6 weeks because that was kind of a heavy book and it really wasn't like a chapter book. And then in week 7, we started Cat of Bubastes. We only read that book for 2 weeks. And the reason why is because there was no chapter for preparing the world for Jesus here. So we finished this early because we didn't have a textbook to read. Not every week has an actual chapter from the textbook because there's just not enough to fill up that much. And I felt like we needed to go slower. But we decided to spend some of those weeks really reading and diving into our living books instead. Now, if this is too fast for you, again, don't worry about it. Just adjust it accordingly to your child. So in week 9, we started chapter 7, and we also started Hittite Warrior. And then in week 10, we also did not have a chapter to read in Preparing the World for Jesus. So we just split up our Hittite Warrior book. And then we pick it back up in week 11. And then we had week 12 as an exam week. And I think we actually finished this book here during exam week. And then week 13, we pick up in chapter 9 and we started the Trojan War. We finished this one really quick. And then in week 15, we had God King. Again, no chapter here. So we just focused on our living book. And then in 18, we picked up Alexander the Great from Plutarch's Lives. Oh my goodness, I loved this book. Loved it. So much fun. And I highly recommend the one from Simply Charlotte Mason where they have the lectures that come with it because Larry Hunt does an amazing job with the Alexander the Great. So highly recommend that one. And we did Alexander the Great all the way through, 27 through 30. Yeah, like week 29 or 30. And then we picked up Ben-Hur. And then we were pretty much done. Like we had finished our textbook by here. And we just started reading living books. And that was when I actually picked up another additional book. I picked up Ancient Egypt and Her Neighbors. And I did not end up doing Augustus Caesar's World. So do what you want with that. Again, this is just a really loose schedule that I followed. You do not have to adhere to this. This is just something that everybody was asking me for, and they wanted to just kind of see it and compare notes. Do not feel like you have to stick to the schedule. Just do what is best for your family with this. This is tailored to my specific child, and he's a big reader and he is a fast reader. So I needed to kind of keep up with what I knew the workload for him would be. I hope that this was helpful for you. Again, this is tailored to my child. So if this is too much for you or not enough, adjust it accordingly. This was just a loose schedule that I personally followed in my book. I actually used my planner to plan this out. There's planning pages at the front of the Mardell Simply Plan planner. That's what I used to kind of go over the whole schedule, and it took me weeks to come up with this thing. But it really did help me out, and I plan on doing it again for book number 2 over here, and somehow I'm going to weave in the Simply Charlotte Mason Middle Ages curriculum. I don't know how I'm going to do that yet. I will keep you posted. Everybody keeps asking. I have not figured it out yet. I'm still kind of like in summer mode right now, so that is not the top priority for me right now, but when I do get that figured out, I will let you know. And if you guys are interested in that schedule, maybe I will share that with you too. But I do have permission from Generations to share this with everybody. I did ask the company before I shared it because I didn't want to step on any toes, and they graciously gave me permission to share that with you guys a long time ago. So huge shout out and thank you to Generations for that. And let me know if this is helpful for you, if you like this kind of stuff, and maybe I will do some more of it and break down other things that we're using like this. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and as always, happy homeschooling.